Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, smiling big again because I have another fabulous guest. She just melted my heart and gave it lots of big hugs beforehand. I'm just so thrilled to have her here with me. And for those watching the YouTube video, I have a baseball hat on today because I was out taking a walk on beautiful Hilton Head Island, gorgeous day. And then my alarm went off and reminded me, Teri, you have a podcast in 30 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh. Came running back sweating. So there you go. All right. So today I have with me Lindsay Leahy, and she is founder and dream builder at the Restoration Project, coach, consultant, speaker, USA Today best-selling author of Take It All Apart. So welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you so much for having me, Teri. Like I said before we got on, I'm a huge fan and I've been so excited to have this sacred space with you.
Oh, you keep making me go, oh, I think I've said it like 10 times now.
Won't be the last, I'm sure.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Well,
Hmm.
let's just dive right in. I'm excited to learn about I love Dream Builder, number one. I just think that's so
Thank
cool. Like what a
you.
great title. When I first popped on, it was like that was what I saw in your bio was Dream Builder. So what is the Restoration Project?
We are a female-owned coaching and consulting firm based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And with our goal is really to invite individuals and teams into a space of evaluating their identity and intentions as it relates to leadership, right? So many times when we're going through leadership development, we're focused on skill building. And this is a more internal, intensive look at what do we really believe and how are we really behaving? Has our lived experience informed what we think, say, and do? And how is that impacting what we're building as a team, as an organization, or even at an individual level? How do we help leaders live an intentional life while doing meaningful work?
What a fascinating approach, because instantly what I thought was you have this like what I had envisioned was a quilt work, right? And that so
Hmm.
many times when you go through those programs, because I worked in corporate America, I went, these through team building stuff so many times. And it was just so structured, like everybody had to fit into this box kind of. And when you're doing that, looking at each individual,
Hmm.
yeah, that's to me is empowering. I mean, I would think as someone who's going through this program as an individual, but part of a team, like
Yes.
it's recognizing and respecting that I would think.
That's the part, and I said you do this so well. There's a part of what each of us, who we are as an individual and what we want, and then whatever we're building together, there's a we component, and how do we draw out the best of the individuals to create that collective experience and those collective outcomes. And it's so lovely and wonderful to watch people recognize maybe for the first time their unique gifts, even at a very human level, in what they bring to the team or the organization or how they can fulfill the strategy of the organization, and then watch other people's ego kind of dissipate a little bit and allow others to participate in that process so we can really learn how to be a we and take everything that we want to the next level.
Oh, I mean, again, it's just so cool. Like I know I've taken personality tests in corporate settings where it was like them trying to figure out like how I approached my leadership roles. And are you a guardian? Are you a helper? Like I can't think of all the titles there are, but
Yes.
it's kind of like what it sounds like. Like, when you have sometimes these things can almost clash, right? Like when
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
those different personalities. And so you're helping people recognize how they can work together.
Yes. And I love working, Teri, with all the teams and individuals that have done all those things. We already have taken the Enneagram and the Strengths Finders and the Myers-Briggs and then it's like, but beneath all of that, there is a lived experience and a set of desires and intentions that live within each of us that are very unique to us. So how do we take all of that in addition to what we know about ourselves and really take that to the next level? I know for me, those labels that have been put on me and those personality profiles, they were helpful it's like your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. They were very helpful for me in certain ways, but they were very detrimental in other ways because they fed this part of me that turned into a negative pattern in my life too, in some ways.
Oh, that is fascinating too, because I know on so many of the ones I've taken, it was, oh, you should be a psychologist. Oh, you should be, a scientist. Oh, you're like a deep thinker kind of person, right? And never really like ever. Like I was always told, oh, don't go into anything creative. Like, and
Oh,
so, but then I found myself like so craving that creativity.
me
I mean,
too.
obviously this podcast is creative, like photography, I love is creative. And so you're right. Like it can almost like what do they call it?
Put you in a
Pigeonhole you.
box.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. Well, and one really fascinating one I share all the time with people that I learned about myself is on all those, I'm very extroverted. I rank as very extroverted. But what I realized was the reason I'm extroverted is because, like you, I come from a background filled with trauma, and that was my mechanism for controlling my environment. So when I really dig through who am I at my deepest, truest self, I'm actually pretty introverted and like to have a lot of one-on-one conversations and time alone, but I exhibit as extroverted because I'm trying to control the environment.
Oh my God, this is why we connected on a soul level, like the instant we met. Was because I recently told somebody, I think, I mean, well, I don't think I know. I'm an extroverted introvert, is how
Hmm.
I worded it. Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yep.
it's if we used to have parties when we lived in Ohio, we had a pool in the backyard and our kiddo, we'd
Fun.
invite, all the friends from our church and in school. And uh Teri would disappear during these ginormous parties, pool parties where we would have movie screen and to do the movies and all that stuff. And people
Wow.
knew, they eventually knew, oh, Teri needed, like she was over peopled.
Yes.
She needed to go sit up in the bedroom for a few minutes and just kind of decompress and unpeople herself. Not that I don't
Yes.
like my friends and love I mean, I was having a great time, but it was just like, as an empath, I think just picking up so much of that energy.
Yes. Terry,
So,
same. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
call it peopled out. I'm peopled out. It's nothing against you. I've just had too many people interactions and I'm peopled out. I need to be alone in nature. For me, I think that that's similar to you. Like nature just fills my bucket in a way. I don't even, it's such a spiritual experience just to go on a walk for me,
Yes.
and reset and fill back up and remember and I'm like you too. I want to rescue and protect everyone. So when I have a bunch of that's been really refining for me in my coaching practice to learn how to separate myself from the person and recognize what's their responsibility. So at a deeply healing level, I know I got called into this work to refine that in myself, so that I can learn what those boundaries are and how to empower people instead of take their power away by rescuing and protecting them all the time.
Yes. And kudos to you for recognizing that. I mean, again, this show, I call it, I used to say, I feel so selfish doing it because I learned so much and I gained so much from it. But I realize it's just a gift that is a little extra perk. But I do it because it's helped me along my journey. So, I mean,
Yes.
I'm learning from you. I learned from all of my guests. There's those little nuggets, right?
That's what I told you. I love your openness of spirit, right? You really hold that space well of being a teacher and a guide at the same, or a student and a teacher at the same time. Like, look, that natural curiosity you have and just openness to really listen to people and hear their perspective. I want to be like you in
Oh,
that way.
I said all again. Oh. I have to tell you the funniest little nature story really quick. Um, so we were standing in the kitchen. Our youngest is home from college, and she was getting ready. She's got a job on the island at a pizza place. So she was getting ready to hustle out the door. And we were all standing in the kitchen, and a cardinal landed on right outside our bay window in the kitchen. And I went, "Hi." Because I always think, it's my mom coming to like wave and say
Mhm.
hi. And the cardinal was like looking and cocking its little head. And my daughter turned and she's like, I thought there was a person standing there. She's like, it's a bird. And I'm like, it's not a bird. It's GJ, which was my mom,
Grandma
Grandma Joanne. So
Sweet. I see the same thing. My grandma shows up as cardinals for me and my mother-in-law as butterflies. I think that's very real.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. But I love that you had such a visceral reaction that she thought it was a human being.
She did. She was like, the way you were waving, I thought somebody was like walked into our backyard. And I was like, no, I was just saying hi to my mom.
I love that, Terry. That's sweet.
So yeah, nature. I totally get it. I totally get it.
Hmm.
So let's take a little left turn here and talk about congrats on best-selling book.
Thank
That's
you.
fabulous. Again, I told you I've
Unbelievable.
been trying to write mine. I have two books I'm co-writing that are launching in the next, gosh, I think
Oh,
one tomorrow
exciting.
and another one next week, maybe. Um, so I mean, it it's a lot to put
Hmm.
to write a book. So can you talk to us, one, about what inspired it, and two, yeah, what is it about?
Yeah, so I feel like this was a God thing for me because back in 2021, Greenleaf Publishing out of Austin, Texas, reached out randomly. LinkedIn messaged me and said, "Hey, a gentleman on their team said, I've been reading your blogs and I think you'd be a really great candidate for a book. We could publish a compilation of your blogs as your first book. Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And I enjoy writing. Journaling has always been a huge part of my healing practice. So I do enjoy writing and I started my blog back in 2018 when I was still in the corporate space. And then our business started growing and so I wasn't ready and came back to it then. All of this started percolating like, well, what if our dream for the restoration project as a team is to live a really good life alongside of doing this meaningful work, which to us means we don't want to scale. We don't want a ton of coaches on our team and to be national. We just want to serve the people in front of us the best we can and create some, financial stability for each of us on the team. That's really the goal. And then just focus on doing really neat work with really amazing people and ripple effect that way. So when they reached out, then all of a sudden I was like, well, wait a minute. We've really found a rhythm to our individual coaching process. And I think I could put that into a book format so that that could be a guide to invite somebody into what does a meaningful and intentional life look like for me and how do I lead in the most authentic way possible. And that's how the book was kind of born. So I signed up to do it. And then, you learn so much in your writing process. They have a manuscript development editor that they assign to you that helps you with the outline of the book and the writing process. And she encouraged me to write a little bit every day. Well, that did not work for me because I kept starting over. So I found the best approach for me was all of it was in here because of the work I'd been doing in our coaching practice. I just needed to create bigger spaces to allow it out. So I had a really different routine than I think a lot of writers do, where I would block 1 or 2 full days off. I'd go out and do my nature walk, I'd light my candle, I'd say my prayer, and then just kind of channel everything and let it out. And so that took me about 18 months to write it and then several rounds of editing where you're like, oh, they say I'm a good writer, but there's so many red lines here. I think I'll never put this in the world.
Yes.
And then I think, Terry, the scariest part for me was you get it, right? And then you see it and you're like, oh my. And now all these people are going to read this and judge it, and they're either going to like it or they're going to hate it. So the hardest part for me personally was that launch into the world. It wasn't the actual writing process, but it brought up a lot of old wounds for me on not feeling safe. What if all these people hate it? What are they going to think? And so again, it helped me heal at a whole different level because of what it invited me into before it went out in the world.
Yeah, I totally understand, like that imposter syndrome piece of it,
Yes.
right? Uh, yeah, been there, done that. Wow. And again, I applaud you and just say how wonderful that you ate. Well, one, recognize it. Like that's one of the biggest steps, is recognizing it. And
Yes.
yeah. And I wanted to just go back for just a second, and I didn't mean to gloss over that you shared that you had been through trauma too. So one, again,
Oh, thank
my
you.
heart hugs yours, and I find which you have probably found listening to the episodes, so many of those
Mhm.
who help guide others have been through trauma and
Yes.
have been in the darkness. And then when we get out into the light, we just want to reach our hand back into the darkness, or we want to reach our hand out to others who may be struggling or looking for help or leadership guidance or whatever it may be,
Yes.
to help them find their way. And so, yeah, I just think that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And that's the goal of the book. It's not a book of answers, it's a book of questions, and it's split into three parts. And first part being rebuilding connection with ourselves, with others in the world around us, because so many of us are so busy and distracted. And we're operating at a really low level of awareness of what's going on. So there's a lot of practices in there to invite us into silence and stillness and creating space for reflection and allowing things to come up that maybe you've been carrying or have buried for a really long time. And so part one really helps you through the reconnection process. And then it ends with surrender and release, because there's a lot of what comes up in that space that we've got to forgive ourselves for, forgive other people for. But discovering those impactful moments, even if you haven't experienced trauma. I have a lot of people who had a very good life, my husband being one of them, but still there are stories and patterns created in through fear and limiting beliefs that prevent us from being our best self. So that's what that whole first part is, really you digging into beliefs and behaviors that have become a part and make up who you are. And then part two is restoring intention. That's the fun part, right? What's meaningful and valuable to me? What does a successful life look like for me? And that part I revisit most often because our lives are changing so fast. And when there's significant life events or we're just in a different season of life, those questions help me anchor back to what matters most right now and how do I need to adjust my beliefs or behaviors. And then part three is the kind of painful but very practical way to put all of that into a plan. So now that I've discovered all these things and I see a different vision, how do I practically and tactically adjust my beliefs and behaviors to get from where I am to where I want to be?
Yes. And that you're right. That's the hard part.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but when you start to do it, is someone who's done it, I put it on my daily to-do list, the things I wanted to change, right? And then it became habit
Yes.
because it wasn't like I was forcing myself, but it was just reminding myself, oh yeah, we need to do that today. Oh yeah. And that was like mindfulness practice or whatever it was, like,
Hmm.
and then it just became, oh, like I can't wait to go do my mindfulness practice.
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people are so scared of silence and stillness, as was I early in my when I started my healing journey, and now I crave it so much that I want more and more and more of it because that's where the richness, or even like you said earlier, that's where creativity is born. A lot of us don't provide enough space. We're producing so much that we don't allow space for creation. Creation, for something beautiful to be created in whatever form, it takes space for not doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's so counter to our society and culture today.
Yes, I love that. I have to tell you a really quick story, and this is the first time I'm sharing it because I just had this happen, 3 days ago.
Oh,
So I went
really?
for an acupuncture session with a Chinese medicine practitioner that I had found here on Hilton Head. Um, Someone recommended. I was like, we didn't even know we had one. Like, this is so amazing.
Wow.
So we went, and I'm still trying to get the last of this mycotoxin poisoning, the rash under
Mhm.
control. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try this and let's see. So after, while the needles are all over my body and I'm laying there in silence, in stillness, instantly tears are just streaming down my face, just streaming, streaming,
Mm.
streaming. And when she came back in, I said, is it normal to have a messenger appear and talk to you? Talk. And
Whoa.
she said, actually, it is quite normal. People report it a lot. And I said, this, I don't know if it was an angel, I don't know, but this very happy little being, this looked like a little woman, was was like over me and like, not physically, but
Yes.
would appear, you know what I mean.
Yes.
And
Oh my gosh.
the message I received was, you've been in a prison, but you're being set free. And then off she left. And I just, again, tears
Terry.
streaming. But you're right. In that silence, like I was just being meditative in that moment and being and breathing into the needles and breathing into the healing that I was welcoming, right? And inviting. And that's what came through. And so to me, I just
Whoa.
think I call them angel whispers, but they're just those beautiful messages that come through from our higher self, from God, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you start experiencing that more and more, right? But that I am so glad you connected that dot because it's not just about creating, like you just said, it's about receiving, space to receive. I, as a giver all the time, I'm so focused on what am I doing for other people? And so even in that faithful spiritual space, I've always craved those profound moments like that, right? But I wasn't set up for that because I wasn't deep enough or clear enough or creating enough space for somebody to come visit me and give me a message like that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
pretty
that
cool.
story.
Again, I'm still like, wow, and that's such a cool message. And again, just it was just so profound and so much truth in it. So yeah. But you're right. Like I had to learn because I'm a giver and a helper. And again, that's the way I was raised. That's just I don't know who I am.
Yes.
Um, that it was hard for me to like you giving me these beautiful compliments and just your words that just hugged me beforehand and again during this conversation. I used to not like I would freeze with
Mhm.
how do I respond? Like I wouldn't know how to welcome and be in gratitude of it. So now I just kind of take it into my heart and say thank you. So
And
yeah.
that creates the cycle, right? I think a lot of us don't realize when we're not able to receive, we stop the cycle of gratitude and goodness in life, right? Because we're kind of sending a signal. I just had a coaching client say exactly what you just said there. She said, Lindsay, I've given her a couple compliments and I've invited her into a couple spaces that she doesn't feel good enough or equipped enough. But what happens is she just kind of like starts to go dark on me when I'm saying these nice things to her or when I'm inviting her into something. I'm like, okay, am I like making her uncomfortable? But she came to me this last week and said, I recognize that I go into freeze. Like my nervous system ramps up into fight, flight, freeze or fawn, and I'm going into freeze mode, like you just said. And what I got to share back with her was when I see you doing that, it makes me not want to continue to give because I'm making you uncomfortable. So then we're interrupting that gratitude cycle, right? Or that goodness cycle because we're unable to even receive. And I had to remind myself of that, Terry, just to get comfortable with receiving too.
Yeah, that is brilliant. I mean, what a absolutely that's like an aha, mind-blowing little revelation there. Thank you for that. Yeah, great
Yeah.
nugget.
So you're doing it. Like that's sometimes I make myself put my hand over my heart when somebody's saying something nice to me to remind myself, stay here, take it
Yeah.
in, let it settle in there.
Yes, I think I did that a few times.
You
Like I was
did.
like, oh my gosh, I could feel it in my heart. And you're right, it does, it cycles through. One of the messages I had been given was, and this was in a meditation that I did, oh gosh, maybe 2 years ago now. Um, Teri, you are both of the earth and of the light, and your role is to be a prism of that light on earth. And so it kind of made me what you just
Whoa.
said is that, as those words come in, we prism it back out to others, right? Like if someone's giving us that light, that gift of
Yeah.
love, whatever that they're sending to us, then it comes through us, and we put it out, we prism it out. So
Oh,
yeah,
I am definitely thank you for that. And now, and my word, so this is so awesome because this happens with all your guests. It's like, this is why we're talking. My word for the year is radiant. So we pick a word every year, and I have a prism as
oh
my little symbol for my, and the way you just described that, it was like, oh, another level, Lindsay, and lesson of why you need to receive so that you can, bring that in and then push it back out in that beautiful way. Thank you for that.
yes, oh, I have goosies on my arms. That's That's so amazing. Wow. Yeah. Well, again, I want to get to everything, and
It's
I hate to
okay.
steer away, but so one of the things that you had said was, you were talking about leadership, and sorry, I don't recall the exact words you were talking about, but it's not, I guess I just want to clarify for folks that it's not just about being a leader in a corporate business or being a leader, if you have your own small little business, but like you can be a leader in your family, you can be a leader,
Yes.
in a church community, you can be a leader. So it's learning to be a leader in any roles, right?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that because we walk with, I was going to say, walk alongside leaders from all different types of roles. I mean, I we even work with some stay-at-home moms, so some people would think, well, that they're not in the corporate space. Yeah, but we want them to be living an intentional life alongside the really meaningful work that they're doing. I mean, I would argue they're doing some of the most important work in the entire world, right? In raising
Yes.
good, productive citizens for the future. So, yeah, it's not, we do, because of our individual backgrounds, each of us as coaches on our team tend to gravitate toward different types of organizations or different types of people. But even in my practice, I'm really passionate about teenagers. So I do a lot of work with teenagers, as well as CEOs and high level executives, because I've been in that, higher level, very corporate space. I understand how that goes. And then I've been mostly in professional services organizations where how we show up really impacts the client experience and how we deliver services. So it's a full spectrum, but we are a faith-based organization in how we run our practice. So we don't impose our beliefs on anyone, but we really, instead of building a business plan, Teri, have decided we trust that God's going to open the doors and invite us into the spaces and to work with the people. So when people show up, we trust that they're the ones we're supposed to work with instead of trying to pursue in a hardcore way a certain niche or so our approach makes a lot of people really uncomfortable because it lacks control and structure in some ways. But the beautiful part of it has been God has opened doors that we never could have imagined or planned for.
Yeah, I hear that so often from those who do approach whatever it is they're doing from a faith-based perspective, and
Mhm.
that when they just hand it over, I guess, and just say, "All
Yes.
right, where are we headed next?"
Yes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
terrifying for control is my number one saboteur on the positive intelligence test. So I'm very control. So, but again, look at the work that God has done in me to be able to surrender that and trust. And even next year, we have a managing director stepping in to kind of take over running the restoration project. Because when I founded it, and then my business partner joined me, we always wanted to do the client work, not necessarily run the business. Well, you know that you have to do both at some
Yeah.
point, and then there comes a time where it really inhibits your ability to grow if you, as the founder, often stay in that space. And so, God's been doing a ton of work in me personally to come to a place where it's like, we really want this to keep growing, and it's okay to let somebody take it beyond where you can and take a different seat on the bus, Linz. And
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see what happens these next 5 years.
Yeah, well, again, applauding you because as someone who was, yeah, I did the stay-at-home mom thing. My ex-husband and I, we had started a business together, and so I was fortunate enough to be able to work from home and I did the accounting, marketing, and IT work for our little business that
Wow.
eventually grew to a brick and mortar. But at the time, we were working from home. So I was so blessed to be home with my two oldest when they were younger. And I remember every night I would go up to their playroom. We had a four-bedroom house, and so the extra bedroom was um, their playroom. And so it was
Okay.
chaos during the day, but I was the mom sitting on the floor making sure of the little people that the pilot went back into the plane and not on the
My.
farm, and the cow was moved out of the plane and back onto the farm, and everything had to be put back in its place. All the puzzle pieces went back into their puzzles, and the next day it was just like dump the puzzle, and the cow's flying the plane, and but in the moment it was okay, but at the end of the day when they were asleep it was like, all right, I must get my control back.
Yes. Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And you did a lot for your business. That's a lot of hats to wear.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it helped me. I think everything I've done has helped me get to this point, right?
Yes.
I taught preschool, and our youngest, somebody said, um, do you have a degree? And I was like, in psychology. And they said, awesome. As long as you've got a degree, do you want to be, teacher at our school?
Wow.
And I was like, sure. So again, teaching, and I fell in love with it, and, guiding and helping others. And so, yeah, yeah,
Neat. That makes total sense to me. And that's, I wish for young people, right? The options today when you're graduating high school or college, you have so many options. It's almost overwhelming. I feel
yeah,
a little bit sorry for people because they get so paralyzed. And I wish more of us would be encouraging of your journey or my journey. Like just get in there and through doing, you will figure out what you do and don't like, and you will learn a lot along the way, and it will all make sense looking back. But my journey didn't, I wanted to work in nonprofit, but I had too much student debt. And so my teacher, thank goodness, was like, let's just find you a good company and get your, a few years under your belt, get your loans paid off, and then you can pivot. Well, that I started in marketing, then I went into sales, then I helped build a business unit, then I went into community economic development work. And through all this, I acquired all these skills and knowledge and network and experiences that allowed the restoration project to be successful, But I never could have anticipated doing this, Terry. I thought I'd just be in sales my whole life and career, and then started having dreams about Moses in the desert and was like, maybe God's calling me to be a pastor or something. And then instead of jumping to that, took some time to explore. And that's what I love, inviting people into that space of meaning. Like what does this really mean? And let it what don't take it so literally. What could that look like for you? And I feel like I do get to come alongside people in the way that a pastor would and help them through whatever transition period they're going through or trying to get to the next level or whatever that looks like. And it just doesn't, it's not in a church, right?
yeah, yeah. And I so envisioned it as soon as you said that, Moses, like he was a guide, right? Guiding the people.
Yes.
And so, and I was like guiding the people across the desert which was probably incredibly difficult. And well, I'm sure. Um, and so, yeah, like you're guiding people through things they don't understand and don't know yet. And so I just think, yeah, that I totally see it for
And
sure.
I don't know either, right, Terry? That's the part of our approach. There's no standard process, right? We know how to get to A, and once we get to A, we have to trust each other, whether it's an individual client or a whole team, that when we get there, we're going to look around and we're going to say, okay, here's what's going on. Here's what we like. Here's what we don't like. Here's the next right step. And that's all that we can do. But a lot of people, that's scary space because there's no control, right? And we have to be
Yeah.
open to letting things emerge and evolve. And just like we were talking about earlier, that's where the beautiful part is and where the real answers lie. But not everyone's willing to walk that path.
Yeah. But what a great lesson you're teaching folks that I'm sure that they then take outside of their job
I hope
uh,
so.
and say, wow, hold up a second. Like, and take those lessons learned. Yeah, very cool. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very meaningful. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Blessed.
Yeah. Well, I love your approach. I think it's fabulous. Again, so well, I could certainly, sit
I
here and
know.
talk to you for I don't know, a day.
Ever.
Yeah,
I'm just going to
exactly.
come visit you in Hilton Head. I know.
Yay. Do it. I swear, I've had a couple of my podcast guests that
Oh,
have vacationed
fun.
here and come, and then they reached out and said, hey, Terry, I'm going to be in Savannah, or I'm in Hilton Head. I'm coming to the Low Country. And we've met up on the beach and hung out and just sat in chairs
Yes.
and sat at the ocean. We've met up and had lunch. We've met up and had coffee. So I love it. If you're here, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. Because like I
Awesome.
said, that's one of our favorite places. It's such a unique place in terms of everything you can see and do, the people. It's and
Yeah.
Iowa is very different than Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Ohio, so I get
Yeah,
it.
you know.
Oh my gosh. Well, this
Oh,
has
good.
just been such a joy and a delight. So, how do folks connect with you? How do they find your book?
Yes. So easy spaces are so our website is the-restorationproject.com, or you can go to takeitalapartbook.com. And then the book's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the major platforms. But if I can put a plug in, I would really prefer you to buy it through your local bookstore. So Swamp Fox Bookstore here in Marion, Iowa, is who I get all my physical copies through to give to people. But bookshop.org is a great website where you can designate a bookstore. So you can still have the online purchasing experience of Amazon, but you can designate that dollars go to a local bookstore.
Oh, I've never heard that before. That's what a cool site. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Buying local is so important, probably now more than ever. So if you can make it happen, please consider making it happen
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
another little plug for those who don't read, it will be on Audible and all audiobook platforms on September 9th is the scheduled drop date. So,
Awesome. Yeah,
yes.
I just like 2 days ago, my 11th audiobook, because I do audiobook narrations, just launched. So
I wish
it's
I would have known
exciting.
that earlier, Terry. Maybe for the next one.
All right, awesome. No, I love it. Somebody told me, one of my listeners and some of my guests have said, you have such a great voice. You should do audiobooks.
I
And
could
I
see
said,
that.
well, that'd be fun. So I looked into it and here I am, just finishing up my 11th. So
Well, it's funny because your voice, right? I wrote the book to be very warm and approachable and also upbeat, and that is so your vibe. So when I heard you say that on another podcast, I was like, "Oh, darn, I already picked my narrator. We're already too far down the path, but maybe the next
right,
one."
right. Well, good. Well, yeah, I'll have to download it for sure. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, again, my heart hug is yours for just
Same.
everything, the work you do and putting a big smile on my face and yeah, all the lessons I've learned today. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, and thank you for creating this sacred space. You're amazing.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you. You are too. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag hope for healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's Teri, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.